Okay, good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darson Chauskas. Today is the 20th of July 2018, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session. Where we're going to have a look at a few instruments. I believe they're quite important to have a look at, and but before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content of this webinar does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Also, before we jump into the charts, quick reminder of our JFD Brokers website here, and specifically go here, click JFD Research. It will take you to our new updated research page. We kind of throw out different stuff here on a daily basis, so feel free to check us out. And I believe you can find something useful here for yourselves, guys. But for now, let's have a look at the chart. So the first one I want to touch on is the FTSE 100. Now, the FTSE is kind of sitting here within this range here a little bit. Certainly, we can see that it continues slowly to climb higher here within this range, but nevertheless, it is still getting held here by these two levels. So excuse me. So the good level to watch here is the 77.10 mark, approximately there. Now, if this continues to continue climbing, and we see another test of the 77.10 today, then well, stay sharp here, because we could eventually actually get this nice break here, and which could open the path towards some higher levels, especially the 77.95 mark. Excuse me, guys, for my voice. The 77.95 mark, which was marked here by the highs that we saw here in the mid-June. So good level to watch. Certainly we'll consider that level only if we get a nice break here above the 77.10. Certainly for now, just keep on monitoring it. We are, like I said, we are stuck here between these two levels. On the bottom side, we do have the 75.10 mark approximately there. So for us to kind of become more bearish on this one in the longer term picture, we would need to see a nice break here below this 75.10. But for now, just judging by this the way it's developing right now, it seems that it wants to test the 77.10 first, and then we'll have to see what it wants to do with it. If we get a nice break here, that's wonderful. This is where we could start positioning ourselves probably for some higher levels. But for now, at this point, just probably small recommendation here could be just to continue monitoring it and see what it wants to do with the 77.10 mark. Let's have a look at one commodity which is quite important, I believe, and especially because it's at an interesting spot right now. So that's the Brent and the Brent oil. So you probably need to get rid of a few lines and arrows here. So at the moment, of course, we are below this upside support, upside trend line that has been running here since around the last year's June, and we are testing it. We've tested it actually on Wednesday. On Thursday, we did have a small false breakout to the upside, but then actually we closed the day below, and now it is currently trading around this key area of support here at around 72.50 mark. So the 72.50 will probably act as a very nice important level today. It will be quite an important one, because if we are going to get a nice close below this level, I mean, there could be a possibility for this one maybe moving a little bit lower. Certainly for us to become kind of more bearish and take the bearish side here, a good confirmation would be a nice close below this level here, so the 71.25 mark. Now this could be a much better confirming level if we see, of course, a break below it, better confirming level for some downside. So For now, guys, keep an eye on this 72.50. At this, like I said, at the moment, of course, we are seeing this bullish candle forming, but the day has just started. So let's see where the day is going to close. And just looking at the weekly chart quickly on this one, you can see that this is a quite important point here as well to mention, because if we close the week here back above this trend line, then, well, I mean, the downside could be off the table for a while, probably, because we could see a reversal back to the upside here next week, and then where we could start aiming for these levels that we had highlighted here, the 75.85 and the 76.45. So this nice zone of potential resistance could get reached next week if this week closes well above this upwards moving trend line. So keep an eye on this, guys. I mean, keep an eye. This is quite an important line here. Certainly, like I said, at the moment we're seeing that it tried to break it a few times, well, this week, so Wednesday and Thursday. Let's see if it'll have another attempt to do that today, and if so, then yep, be very careful. We could, like I said, we could see some interesting developments here, because, like I said, if we get a nice break above this trend line, and we'll stay above this trend line, then, well, this is opening the path towards higher levels for next week. But on the downside, also a good confirmation would be this a break of the 71.25 mark. So yeah, I do apologize for my voice, guys. Okay, let's jump into a few pairs now, and the Euro USD. Now this is a good one as well. Now certainly, as you can see, some would say maybe it's not really interesting because it continues to trade within this big range here between the 115.100 and the 118.400. Certainly, yep, I mean, probably I could agree with that, but at the same time, looking at this shorter term picture, we can see that it's even trading right now even in a slightly smaller range here. So between the 116.100 and the 117.900, approximately there. So keep an eye on these levels too, guys, as well. So certainly at this point we can see that the candle, the daily candle, is kind of shifting now more to the positive side. Certainly it seems that it's aiming right now for the 50 EMA, currently sitting at around the 21 EMA. After yesterday's initial sell-off here, you can see that the bulls managed to kind of drive it back up here and managed to drive it back above the 116.100 level. So this kind of creates a bit of a bullish outlook for the short term. So even, let's say, looking at the 4-hour chart on this one, you can see that this is continues to climb nicely higher. Certainly for us, for today, if we're going to see a nice move here, just let me quickly mark that level. If we see a nice move here above this 116.800 level, approximately there, guys. So keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on this level. Let me just quickly adjust that. Keep an eye on this level. If we do get a nice pop here through the upper side, this is where it could become interesting, and we could eventually position ourselves for a potential trade here, maybe actually going something like this. Let me just adjust this, and there we go. So if you, let's say, position yourselves for approximately for a nice trade here higher, of course, stop loss in place, have your stop loss in place. Certainly you be the judge where to put your stop loss. You could eventually put it maybe somewhere around here, around the 116.500, and then aim for the highs that we saw here on the 17th of July, which was approximately around the 117.450. So 117.450 could be a potential target for your take profit. Like I said, if this gets above the 116.800 level. So this is only in that scenario, guys. At this point, to enter a position here, it would be a bit, let's say, maybe foolish, and it would be a bit maybe difficult to say. And so like I said, get a nice break and a close above this level first, and then yeah, this could potentially confirm a nice move here higher towards this 117,450 mark, so approximately there. Or even actually, if that doesn't hold, I mean, we could move all the way higher. So for now, just keep on monitoring this level, the 116,800. Let's see what it wants to do with that. Let's jump into GBPUSD. Now this is probably who has taken the spotlight for this week, and with its sharp sell-offs here, starting of course initially from the 17th, then 18th, and then and then yesterday we had a sell-off. So basically it's not looking good, and eventually we managed to break the lows that we saw here at around 130.50. These lows were last seen and on the 28th of June, and these were at that point it was the lowest point for quite a while. That we've only last time we saw these lows only at around November last year. So we've managed to break that level, and of course we managed to reach the area here. Let me just put a 4-hour chart actually, guys, for this one. So we managed to kind of get towards this 129.55 zone. Certainly proved to be a nice area of support. At this point in time, we're right now at sitting at around 130.25. Certainly we could see a bit of retracement here back to the upside, so keep an eye on this level here. The 130.50 initially could act as a good area of resistance, but if that doesn't hold, slightly above that we do have another good level to watch, and that's around 130.800 mark, approximately there. So keep an eye on that one, and that also kind of probably would coincide here with this 21 EMA shown as the yellow line on the 4-hour chart. So something like this. But for us to kind of become more bullish on this one, let's say, we would need to see a nice move here above this 130.80 mark, and a nice close of the 4-hour candle above this level, and this is where we could then position ourselves for maybe aiming for higher levels, slightly higher levels. So at this point, just be very careful. Certainly, like I said, we could see a reversal, maybe a reversal even from this key area here, key area of resistance, potential resistance, the 130.50, where the pair kind of could continue its fall that we were seeing here this week. So I mean, at the moment, looking at the bigger picture on the daily chart, we are looking quite weak here on GBPUSD. So initially we could start maybe targeting the level here, the lows, the one at 129.55, but to be honest, it already had enough of a drop. Certainly we could maybe see a bit of a correction here back to the upside, and kind of, let's say like that the whole more action could be seen next week. So this week could probably finish off somewhere around this area between the 130.50 and the 129.55, and this around 100 pip area. So keep an eye on this, guys. Certainly will be interesting to see, but let's say if the week closes above the 130.50, maybe this could be seen actually as a nice positive sign that the pair could be willing to kind of retrace a bit more, a little bit higher next week. So something like that. So at this point in time, probably all eyes are on this level right here, the 130.50 mark. So keep an eye on it, guys. A quite important level to watch for today's close. Let's see what it wants to do with that. And the last pair that I really wanted to touch on, guys, is the USDCAD. Now, USDCAD moving nicely higher. We broke the key area here again, the 132.250, and we're now testing the 132.665 mark. So this is the level that I was talking about in my previous videos. So now, of course, all the question is, are we actually going to make our way back up here towards the upper side of the Bollinger Band, or are we going to stay around here or actually even maybe move back down to test the 132.250 mark? So for now, keep a close eye on this 132.65. Looking at the 4-hour chart, you could potentially position yourself maybe for a nice breaking trade here. If we do get a nice break here above the 132.90 area, and this is where we could start aiming maybe for higher levels, especially and specifically for this 133.50 zone. So a possible trade could look something like this, guys. So let me just kind of adjust this quickly. So if you probably enter a position on a breakout here around the 132.900, this is the level you could target, the 133.50 initially, of course, but of course place your stop loss somewhere around here, around this low, out around 132.50, of course. But to be honest, you be the judge. You decide on what stop loss is more comfortable for you guys. So this is just an idea of potential kind of areas to target. So yep, like I said, guys, this could be a possible trade, but only if we get a nice break here above the 132.90 zone. So on the downside, for us to kind of become more bearish on this one, well, we would need to see a nice move lower below this level right here at around 132.25 mark that I was just talking about. So this area could be a nice potential area for a short if we, like I said, if we get a nice break and a close here below that level, and this is where you could eventually target this low that we had here on the 18th of July, and of course, yep, have your stop loss in place, and then again you probably could potentially put your stop loss somewhere around here at around 132.50, and this is how you could potentially place a trade here, which could potentially work out, let's say like that. Nothing is guaranteed, of course. This is just an idea, but of course we need to take risks in order to kind of make money. So for now, guys, keep an eye on these few levels. Let me just get rid of that quickly. So keep an eye on the 132.900 and of course the 132.25 zones. So let's see what it wants to do with those levels. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you found it useful, and if you want to join me later on in my traders tea time at 13:15 GMT, 14:15 British Summer Time. But for now, thank you very much. Have a good European session, and bye bye.